This JS2 out here, and I might be doing a few more videos showing some other model detectors. You know, detectors have changed somewhat here over the years. The old mighty Equinox might have been really the first one that's sort of showed this. These multi-frequency machines, you know, you're out in a site and you're sweeping along, and let's say you're accepting all the targets, the entire non-ferrous range, and you're out there sweeping around. Well, could you be missing some good targets? Meaning you're selectively digging. You're not digging every swinging signal in a site, okay? I suspect a lot of people aren't doing that. Okay, now an old relic site, an old site that's off the beaten path and has age, that may be a site you do such a thing with. But what about a modern trash site that's got some older history in it, okay? Could have silver coins, etc., silver rings. Okay. I'm only going to show this machine in deep high conductor. This is the latest version in this machine, 0.71. I've got multiple pieces of foil, and there's a mercury dime sitting about 3 or 4 inches below down there. Now, you will see this in the real world, okay? So anybody that's sitting there like, oh, sharpshooter, you know, he's full of it. Well, I've seen this in the real world. Okay, and I'll even, you know, there's a guy named Rattlehead. I guess he spotted this too, I would suspect, okay? What you're going to see in this video here, so I've got no notch in this machine currently, okay? No notch. Reactivity 2. And let me make sure I got this speaker turned all the way up so you can hear this. We're in full tones on this machine, okay? So you're out in the wild and you're sweeping along across this right here. You hear that? So all that jambalaya sound you're hearing in this detector. Let me take this. I got this ID blowed up on this machine here, okay? I'll let you monitor that ID. Now remember, I'm sweeping over that dime. It's down there. But when we look at that meter and we listen to all that jambalaya sound, you know, could we miss that dime? Well, in my opinion, I'd say you could, okay? You could miss it. All right? So these machines, you know, and the way their tone works, and they've got so fast, and, you know, and you can sweep pretty fast on some scenarios, you know. So what happens if we go in here and we intentionally dial in some notch? And on this test here, I'm just going to dial this thing out. Since I know that's a silver dime down there, I'm going to dial this thing all the way over to, we'll just dial it to about 83. Because that lets zinc and pennies in, okay? That's an 83 notch now. 0 to 83 notched on this machine. That's the only thing I've changed. Let's see what we get here. Watch what the meter does. Notice that? So look there. We didn't see that when we were running this machine with no notch, did we? We didn't see that. So if we hear a sound that interests us, you know, suspect, and we look down at the meter and we see that, that might get our attention, right? Okay, so I go back over here and show you. We'll take the notch back out of the machine. Now this video could be viewed as a DS2 tip, but this applies to some other detectors, and I may show some more video, okay? Now, so now here we go. I'll let you look at that meter. What do you see? See, when you look down at that meter, depending on how microscopically that call is moved, you could see something different. Okay? So that meter's sort of windshield wiping on you as you sweep this call, you know, coming across mixed conductivity targets. Okay? Now, Here's something that can happen in the wild here, okay? And again, this could happen with a lot of detectors, and the bigger the call, this could probably happen more so versus a small call. You sweep across this target like this right here. Well, let's say you're good enough, and you in this setup here, you hear that dime down there. You hear a target of interest, okay? And you're like, what was that? What happens if you go back? Uh-oh, look at there. You go back and you sweep the call, and what you've done is you're doing these short sweeps, and all you're going to see is, you see that fall there. Now, is that coin being sensed right now, even though I'm over that fall? Probably. It's the average. It's the average of the signals in some fashion. So you see that. All right, you're looking at that meter and you're sweeping, okay? Homing in on that target, and you're like, well, I ain't gonna dig that, and you walk off. Okay? So what happens if we do a wider sweep here and we really slow her down? So if we do a wider sweep and we really slow down, we can see more of that 90 whatever coming in that window, can't we? Okay? But again, if we're over here a running notch, let's see what happens. Let's see the difference. I'll even run the notch this time even higher than 83. There's 85, okay? So now I sweep across this target. Oh, look at there. We hear that little high tone ping, and we look down the meter, we see 91, 92. Okay, so here we go, we hit it, now we come back. Well, the fall, see, is not gonna fool us now, is it? So we know we heard something. So we're gonna keep moving the call around, and we're like, look at there. See that meter? So when we're running this notch, when we go back to try to hunt our target, that fall can't fool us because we're not going to hear it. So we're going to keep massaging the call around and like, what did I hear? What did I hear? There it is right there. Okay, you see it right there. And there's the old Mercury dime. You see it there in the camera. Okay. So you could easily hear a target with this machine, depending on how you have it set up. And you weren't mistaken, you actually heard it. And you could go back and try to home in on it, and you get disappointed or you don't see what you want to see and walk off, and your coin's laying down there the whole time. Okay? I made sure I'd show a little of this with the Equinox and the Legend and just see how they work. Okay? I've done it and seen it. Okay? I hope you enjoyed.